If you worked at a job, sir,
Yes.
not like the job you have now, but if you were at a 9 to 5, say a McDonald's, and somebody called you and said, "I'm from McDonald's security."
Oh, is this about the
Thanks for just play along.
Okay.
And we can see you through the cameras, and there's somebody on your staff, a girl, who we think has been stealing. We want you to bring her into the back office and interrogate her. We're going to tell you what to say and what to do.
Yes.
You do that, and the girl comes back, and you're like, "You're stealing," and she's like, "No, I'm not." And somebody on the phone is giving you instructions and says, "Tell her to take her clothes off."
Yes.
At what point do you go, "Can you guys come down here? Because I don't know if I believe this."
Wasn't it? Now I'm like, I'm not answering your question, but I thought he acted like he was the police.
He did.
He didn't act like he was McDonald's security.
He acted like he was Ronald McDonald. He
like,
acted
"Hello."
like, no, he was just like, "This is the grimace. Tell that kid to fucking take her gear off." A man impersonating a police officer called the restaurant in April of 2004. This is at a McDonald's in Kentucky. April 2004, and persuaded assistant manager Donna Summers. You wonder where she went, man. There she is. Last dance. Last chance. Full interrogation. The assistant manager persuaded her that Ogborn, Louise Ogborn, that's the girl, then 18, had stolen money from a customer. The caller asked Summers to take Ogborn into a back room and strip search her. The security tape showed Ogborn crying and covered only in an apron after the strip search, enduring further humiliation that continued for more than 3 hours. 3 hours this imaginary cop is on the phone, and this assistant manager never once thinks to say, especially as it escalates, which you'll hear, never once thinks to say, like, "Why aren't you guys coming in? I don't know if I believe this anymore." Just keeps going with it. Well, according to court records and security camera tape, the caller's request became more bizarre as the situation proceeded. Eventually, Summers, that's the assistant manager, called her fiancé at the time, a middle-aged man named Walter Nix Jr., to come to the restaurant and guard the teen while continuing with the caller's demands while Nix went back to work. Nix, while continuing the phone call, made Ogborn remove her apron, jog in place with her hands in the air, do jumping jacks, stand on a chair, and eventually Nix is the fiancé, the guy, middle-aged man, began spanking her for several minutes at a time. What cop is like, "Now I need you to spank her"? And you go like, "All right, you're the law." And they're not even there in person. It's not like somebody's holding a badge, which in and of itself I would be like, is that part of the Miranda?
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to do something? Read her rights? The tape showed Summers re-entering the room several times, at which point Nix would throw the apron back to Ogborn, and then he'd remove it again each time Summers left. So it starts getting weirder, man.
Yeah.
Eventually, Nix ordered Ogborn to perform oral sex on him.
Yep.
The abuse stopped. So he got to the point where he's just like, the cop is saying that you have to give me a blowjob. And she's doing it. I don't know who's more stupid in this instance. It's a fucking McDonald's job, dude. It's not like this is happening in a concentration camp. It's McDonald's in Kentucky.
Yeah.
The abuse stopped when a second man, a maintenance worker at the store, was called into the room, picked up the phone, and refused to follow the caller's instructions. So this dude, the maintenance man, was like, "What? No, I'm not going to do that." Click, and hangs up. Nix was later convicted of sex abuse, sexual misconduct, and unlawful imprisonment, because keeping her in the back room, I guess. And he was sentenced to 5 years after pleading guilty in the case. Summers received probation after entering an Alford plea to misdemeanor unlawful imprisonment charges. She sued McDonald's, the girl, Ogborn,
18,
for an obscene amount of money.
Yeah.
Let's see, $200 million she asked for.
Yeah.
And the jury, she sued McDonald's. The jury gave her $6.1 million. Still, not
bad.
Not bad. Chunk
I
of
mean,
change.
not that you would choose to.
Never in a million years.
No.
The girl has said that she's going to use the money to go to law school, where presumably they'll tell her, "Hey, if somebody calls you on the phone,
Well, first of all,
starts telling you to act like a jackass and suck some dude off, say no or demand some. Even if it was a
First of all,
can't force you to blow somebody.
Well, first of all,
yes.
like, let's get right at the beginning.
Yes.
Cops do not call anywhere.
Right.
And ask people to perform strip searches.
Right.
Okay? Like, that alone is just like, you don't have to read a book or even watch television.
No, you don't
like
have
on
to
Matlock, they don't bring that up because
No.
everybody assumes going in that, like, you can't fucking tell people, you can't make your employees.
Matlock's trial lawyer, so
yeah, but
you got to go
there's
to if you're going to go to a show, go to like T.J. Hooker. T.J. Hooker, Bill Shatner never calls you up.
There wasn't a show where he was on the phone.
Yeah, he was on the hood of a car on a phone, going like, "Tell her to take her clothes off and do jumping jacks."
The second that somebody told me, like, hey, you stole some money, take off your gear, I'd be like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I would be like...
I'd be like, look, A, I didn't steal any money, but B, I'm not taking my clothes off to prove that I didn't do something.
Yeah, it's like, where are the
that
cops?
I know I didn't do. Yeah, bring a cop in and fucking... if he tells me to take my clothes off, I'm going to ask for a lawyer.
So, like, I'd certainly look at her...
Plus, I'm fat. I don't want to take my clothes off. All right? It's that simple.
That would have saved you.
I think if I was thin, if I was like a really in shape motherfucker, like there's a picture of this girl.
Just walk in and took your clothes off.
Without them saying a word. I just would have, they were like, we need to see you in the back room. I would have just disrobed and been like, look at me, I'm thin and pretty. I wouldn't have sucked any dick, but I might have done a jumping jack or two, especially if my dick was big. Because
just for that action.
Totally, just so people are like, wow, he's fucking in shape and well hung.
Great.
I would think that I was being auditioned for the new Ronald McDonald. If somebody was like, we got to put you through
Ronald McDonald?
through a rigorous set of tests to see if you can handle being Ronald. Should McDonald's be held liable for this? SModcast just turned into like the O'Reilly factor.
I know.
It's not even. We haven't been funny in a while, but it fascinates me. Should McDonald's be held responsible?
Should McDonald's be held responsible under the circumstances as the like? If it happened to me, I mean, number one, like, who the hell are you going to sue? But I think that it is McDonald's job to create a safe work environment. It's part of the company can't just be like, hey man, it's like we fucking hired managers who came in and like shoot people or like, you know, like they have to be held responsible on some level as to the work environments that they create.
I disagree. Let's say you're working at McDonald's. Somebody comes in and robs you at gunpoint. Maybe hits you in the mouth with the butt of the gun and shit. Open a register.
That's different.
Do you get to sue McDonald's because they didn't provide a safe work environment?
No.
This isn't even that. This is a case of like a disembodied voice on a phone. Like, how is McDonald's responsible for this?
But the guy on the phone, it didn't do anything. The guy on the phone literally like just said like that thing where it's like, if I told you right now, I was like, why don't you come suck my dick? It's like
I'd be like, well, we're in the middle of SModcast.
But it's like, at the end of he just said that.
Mm-hmm.
If he called your house and started making those demands, it's like, you would say no.
I would be like, hold on, and put it on hold and then give it to Gail. Be like, Gail, can you deal with this?
Gail's like, I don't know, but you got to take all your clothes off.
I'm like, really?
You stole money from
who?
Byron.
Harvey Weinstein. I'm like, oh, this is weird. There was a Hamburglar. There was Ronald, Hamburglar, Grimace. Birdie the early bird came later on.
Yeah.
That's what should have happened. Like, I'm sure this chick shivering naked, wearing her apron, going like, I gotta suck this dude's dick, is sitting there going, when will Birdie the early bird swoop in and save me? Carry me to safety.
I'm gonna bet my life savings.
That didn't go through her head.
That didn't go through her head.
The Fry guys. Little dudes that like fries.
Yeah.
But Captain Crook was a pirate-looking dude.
Yeah, I don't remember.
They kind of stopped using him at a certain point. I think that represented the entire... Oh, well, of course, Big Mac, the cop. Where was Big Mac in all this? Like, is that the case? Like, it's like, hey, this is Big Mac.
I don't
listen
think
here, Donna Summers.
Yeah.
I think somebody stole some money. You got to get, like... That's the only cop that she should have respected the authority of. If Big Mac calls you up and says, perhaps you should look into this, then it's just like, well, you are a registered trademark of McDonald's. Yeah. You are the law in McDonald land. And Mayor McCheese, of course.
That would really validate her suing McDonald's.
Totally, absolutely. If she was just like, look, man, the fucking big, quote-unquote, Big Mac called up, and this chick made me jump
Mayor McCheese.
Or Mayor McCheese.
Any sort of.
They could have chased this all the way up to McDonald's big government, to Mayor McCheese. The buck should stop there.
there's varying degrees where it's like the woman who buys the hot coffee and gets burned by it.
Right.
Like, to me, the girl who's the victim.
Yeah. Probably should have.
We have a minute.
A minute. You're
Sorry,
not very
I have to
good
wrap
at
it
the
up.
whole fucking I point
Well,
to
it's
my
like
wrist.
I'm in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah, but you can multitask at the same
Well,
time.
I can't. It's down on the ground.
We've now killed half of our minute, probably. Finish up. Sum up.
Never work for McDonald's.
There it is. Truer words couldn't be.
Or no, work
spoken.
for McDonald's. But if the police don't
I
conduct strip searches.
I disagree. Work for McDonald's, and if somebody tells you to take your clothes off, do it.
Do
and
it.
You can make $6 million.
Yeah.
There it is. That's the lesson for today.